Hello, and welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. We're on to the next topic about banishing and kind of more theoretical topics and interesting ideas about what banishing is and what it isn't and how we use it and practical applications. And
Will you hand me my candle? Sorry. I feel like I want to light a candle, so I'm gonna
oh,
grab my
I love
candle. But
it. Then
yeah,
do please light a candle.
thank you. Okay,
Is it
continue,
a
please.
new candle? No.
Uh, it's a horror section.
Oh, I love that.
It's
Raven adores horror.
uh,
It's a big deal.
obsessed. It smells so good. Plum, black cherry, and amber.
Ooh, I love amber. So,
Me too.
mm, mm, mm. Okay. So
Okay.
she's lit the candle and let's
Yeah,
get to the
go
next.
for it.
Ooh, this is a good one. I love
Oh,
it. I'm so excited. Yay. Banishing
that's a great one.
archetypes. So there's four that I go through and I kind of talk about them in depth and they are so rad. And I've kind of focused on the women's part. Some I didn't,
Of
but
course.
there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
So the first banishing archetype is the crone. And
Love her.
I know the crone is the as an archetype is the banishment of illusion and innocence. I fucking love it. Now you
Yeah.
exactly. So the crone banishes through truth, through age, and she does not coddle, okay? She's not here to comfort. She destroys illusion and especially illusions of youth and ego and safety. I love this. She refuses sentimentality. She calls things what they are. So she is a good one to put on that mantle or to invoke the crone because when you're trying to banish dependency, narcissism, avoidance. Okay, she's often associated with winter, death, and endings. She's because the crone, if you don't know what, so I should say, what is the crone? So
Mm.
they're in some traditions, and let me show you this. So I have, like there we go. So you see, like the full moon and then the waning and the waxing moon. The waxing is the maiden because it's growing. The full moon is like the mother in her full, you can even think of it as a big pregnant belly. She's pregnant with ideas. It doesn't have to be an actual child. It can be like the earth, pregnant with this world. And the waning
Yeah.
is the crone, so it's diminishing.
Mm.
She's at the final stage of her life. So, and usually how people think of it is like waning and maiden, and it's like before you've gone into menarche. And then from menarche to menopause is the mother part, and then from menopause on is the crone energy. So it's a necessary part of the cycle of women. So the crone is related to banishing. So examples, I love this. Baba Yaga,
Mm.
Hecate, the Morrigan, Cerridwen, Hell, Kaliak, La Santa Muerte, Quadacua, and Ananke. Okay, so those are some examples. And then how does the crone banish? Through harsh truth, by
Yeah.
refusing to nurture what must die. By closing doors. She teaches when to end things. And the crone doesn't necessarily kill you, she just lets you die. She doesn't save you. So, the next archetype that I'm going to go over is the trickster. And this picture is the female aspect of Loki because
Mm.
Loki is a shapeshifter and I love this picture. So,
Good one.
and Loki is even born children in his shapeshifting as a woman. So,
Mm.
so the trickster, what the trickster is about is the banishment of stagnation and the banishment of certainty. So the trickster is the trickster. The trickster does like we're going to see when we look at the goddesses or the different like possible deities that represent trickster energy. So the trickster does things that like maybe start crazy, look possibly even negative looking things. And but they want to disorient you. They want to show you that things aren't the way you think they are and you're not who you think you are. They can make you feel, it sometimes feels like ego death when you're involved with the trickster. So they tear down structures, they create movement, they create events that are sometimes scary and insane. Okay, sometimes the trickster can be the one who's banished, the outcast or the rebel, but the very presence of the trickster is going to disturb the false order. So I love that. So
I
example,
love that too.
yeah, Loki, also the raven or the coyote, Eris, and who is a Greek goddess, and it's supposed to be through is spelled wrong. Hold on, that's gonna bug me. Okay, so now we're better. Okay, so Eris is in a Greek, and she threw the golden apple that started the Trojan War. So, and Medea, or who isn't a goddess necessarily, but involved, um, and Sedna in the Inuit tradition. So, how do they banish? They banish because they disrupt things, they mock things, they expose hypocrisy, they force things on you that you may not be ready for. Okay. They do the unexpected. Okay. They break your normal way of doing things, they force you to change and transform. So the trickster doesn't take away your illusions. He or she makes you trip over them, exposing them. So the next one is the exorcist. So the exorcist is the banishment of possession and influence. So the exorcist, we know the movie. The exorcist came into they banish what doesn't belong in this world. Entities, thoughts, influences, attachments. It can be like in the exorcist, like literal, like with the Catholic priest and religious rites, but it can also be metaphorical, like spiritual parasites, residues that are inside you of your trauma, internalized abuse, things like that. So it is the exorcist is kind of the spiritual boundary keeper, and you would use the exorcist archetype when you require that kind of spiritual boundary creation. This is a time when it requires clarity, force of will, and sacred authority. So it's a archetype that stands between you or the self or the person who's being taken over by evil influences and that invading evil influence or the other or the negativity. Examples is that like that Catholic priest that we saw in the movie. Psychopomps. So, and I can't believe it's that I didn't put the name of this. I totally it's let's see. Tlazolteotl, okay, who's the Aztec eater of filth. Kali, witches. Shamankas, which are female shamans. Curanderas. Hecate, the Morgan, Hel, Nephthys, and Sedna as well. How do they banish? Through ritual, okay, through willpower, through commanding. Remember the command, like command you to leave the body, sacred authority, knowing that you have the authority to tell an entity or an energy to leave. So they often invoke the divine, as we have seen, or speak the voice of truth. So the exorcist banishes by saying, I'm drawing a line. You are on the other side of that line. You must leave my boundary. You have no place here. And the final archetype, which I love, is the warrior. So that is Joan of Arc up
Mm.
there. So the warrior is the banishment of threat and weakness. So the warrior is obviously a force, and it uses discipline and force. It enforces the boundaries. It's loud. It says the buck stops here. Like, it's the warrior is the person that says no. He or she, and I put he all the time. I should have put he or she. That's kind of rude. Is the protector, the destroyer, and the guardian of values. Okay. They're not always violent, but they are not passive. They are an active force. They fight, they know what to fight for, and they know what to cut off. So they banish inner fear, doubt, weakness, or outer threats. I kind of have some warrior energy, kind of.
I think we all do. It's just about tapping into it, you know?
Exactly. All these archetypes are. And maybe at
Mm,
the end, you can give us a little idea about what archetypes are because we didn't start with that. You can kind of tell
mm.
us a little bit about that. So, examples are Joan of Arc, Skaha, Durga, Anat, the Valkyries, Oya, Sekhmet, Eats, Pap- Eats Papa Lodal, Fu Hao. And how do they banish? They banish by drawing that line, by standing firm against that line and with action. So they like do things to make that thing banished. They have discipline. They're clear on their purpose, almost single mindedness, and they don't care about maintaining ties. They have an absolute willingness to fight and to maintain their ties. So the warrior banishes by protecting the sacred and cutting away what endangers it. And I want to ask you, I'll stop this and then we can talk about this.
Mm.
Before you go on to anything about the archetype in general, I want to ask, do you know what Joan of Arc was burned at the stake for?
Oh, I don't think so.
It's insane. It's insane. It's
What
for
is it?
wearing, at the end result, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was
Yeah.
for wearing men's clothes.
Oh, I think that I had heard that. Isn't that crazy?
Telling her not to do it, and she was like,
Yeah.
"You," and she kept
Yeah.
wearing men's clothes.
Yeah.
And
Love
they
it.
burned her at the stake. That was the final charge. You
Jesus.
imagine? Can you even imagine? And she stood
No.
strong. She was like, "I'm not doing it." She's like, "I'm not. I'm wearing what I want to wear."
Yeah. Love it.
Total badass warrior.
Yeah.
No matter what, I'm
Absolutely. No
doing it.
matter what.
No
Yeah.
matter what, until the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
So rad. So go
Love
ahead.
that. I mean, I think that that's like what are the archetypes? That's a big discussion. Usually we kind of circle it back to Jungian like theory, although there have been a lot of other philosophers and stuff that have talked about archetypes, but it's like major energies, right? And that's what like the major arcana are based on is like archetypes, right? We have like the fool, the magician, the priestess, the high priestess, the hierophant, like death and the devil and all of those things. It's like I think that everybody has the capacity for all of these archetypes because I think that they are part of the collective. Like we all kind of tap into them. Um, but some people just aren't able yet at this point to tap into it. Like they have the capacity, but they haven't done the work maybe to be able to tap into it. And that's again circling back, that's like where shadow work would come in, right? Like the warrior, if you which we don't really have that in the majors, but like strength would be tied to that, I think. And if you have a hard time sticking to your guns like that, then that's the type of working that you need to be doing and
That's
looking at yourself and like, yeah, why do I have a hard time with this? What can I do to bring this more into it and to like step into that. But that's what I think about them. What do you think? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And I would agree though, like I would even go further and say that like archetypes can have major power in your life. Like they can
Mm,
have major power not only in like the goddesses or deities that you are bringing out during a certain like ritual or banishing, but also just like taking in that energy and aligning yourself with a certain archetype for a certain season or a certain, event
yeah.
or a certain, I think that archetypes are like in the Jungian, they're part of our collective unconscious and they're part of, so they vary. Some of these things that we saw here, although Jung would say they're universal, the universal unconscious, but I would say, that there's definitely some variability depending on what, because cultures do vary over time and
Yeah.
people and time and place. So,
Yeah.
but some of those we do have very much in common. You saw like a wide variety of deities that embodied these. That's why I picked those four. I found that they were like, they had a lot of like where we could relate to them and we could
Mm,
see how um those type of energies can play into our banishing and we can use them. And so I feel like even the cards that I make, and we can't use that word yet, but I'm gonna get like the branded name of the cards that
yeah. Yeah.
but they're collage style cards, and
Yeah.
definitely like one of the styles is this kind of archetypal energy. And so and sometimes it is within you and it comes out, and to identify it and to be able to put a name to it is pretty important, and
Yeah.
being able to
I
use
agree.
that.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good kind of intro to, I mean, if you want to talk about it now, but like our view on like deities and how we view them as separately or different from a lot of other people, but we kind of tend to view them as archetypes and like embodying that archetype as opposed to like actually inviting like this person or something in. But yeah, I think that heavily ties to this discussion because that's how we work with them is like, what about this can I step into and like
Exactly.
embody?
Yeah,
And it's
it's
very much
more than
archetype.
like I'm not really interested. It makes me a little bit uncomfortable when people view deities the way that I hate to say this, but the way that most Christians view the deities, like praying, like a one for one prayer, like
Yeah.
it's just too much for me. Like it doesn't work. If that's what you do, then more power to you. I hope you get all the things from it. But that's not
Yeah.
how I'm doing. That's not how I do it.
Me neither.
This is not
No.
what this is about for me at all.
Yeah.
It's about, yeah, like it's much more archetypal, much more about who the energy that this deity elicits and how I
Mm-hmm.
can take it in. And that's why like that discussion about invoking and evoking is like
Mm-hmm.
a barrel of worms. Like it is just like it makes me so uncomfortable in a way that I don't even know what to do with it. Like it's
Uh,
hard for me to engage in it. Like it's
yeah.
really difficult because it takes deities and makes them into like Jesuses
Yeah.
or makes it,
Yeah.
yeah, like, and I'm not interested in that.
Yeah. Like real beings. And
Yeah,
that's
like
not
we're gonna
how
talk to,
I,
yeah, like we're gonna like
yeah. Or I'm gonna speak for them.
yeah, exactly. Like you could ever speak for a deity or an archetype and to like exactly. It's just like, oh my gosh, really? Like, are we doing this? Like,
Yeah.
are we like it's very Jesus-y is all I have to say. And if Jesus
Yeah.
is your man, then again, more power
More
to
power to
you.
you.
So,
Yeah.
you
You
know?
don't have to agree. We just talk about the way that we do things.
Exactly. So anyway, needless to say, I feel like archetype is like that's the whole, you're right. That's the whole way that we kind of view deity is an archetypal lens. And so when we
Hmm.
put these different categories of deity up there and listed those deity, like that's very powerful for me because that's like that is deity for me are these like archetypal personages that like are very meaningful and can be elicited during ritual, but it doesn't mean that I'm calling down a, for me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Agreed. Hmm.
Anyway, well, I hope you got something from our archetype discussion and from the various archetypes that can be associated with banishing. I'm sure there are many more that you could think of. And I hope you liked it, and we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diary.